Yeah.
No desk today. We don't have time for that. We're supposed to get done here for. Go see the Sawbones.
Call to order. This is the Rice Creek Watershed District Board of Managers regular meeting. It's Wednesday, October 25th, 2023, 9 a.m., and we are at our normal meeting place of the Shoreview City Hall Council Chambers. Let the record reflect that all managers are present. And Mr. Administrator, is the agenda as you wish it?
It is indeed. Staff have no proposed changes.
Do any of you have any proposed changes? Hearing that, can I have a motion to set and approve the agenda?
So move.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Passes 5-0. Can I have a motion with regard to the minutes?
Mr. President, I move to approve the October 9th workshop and the October 11th, 2023 regular meeting minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 5-0. Consent agenda. Well, by golly, we've got some this time. Patrick?
Yes, President Bradley, two applications for consideration today, both with no proposed changes.
All right. Does anyone have any questions of Patrick? Can I have a motion?
Mr. President, I'd move to Cap Rock permit number 23-061 and 23-067.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Passes 5-0. Open mic. Only one we've got, as far as I know, is our lawyer, and we'll wait to have him talk some other time. Anyone else? No one's here in the audience. Mr. Administrator, what's next?
Yes. President Bradley, next on the agenda are items requiring board action. First is Houston Engineering Task Order 22-008. This is for Ramsey County Ditch 4, and we have an additional services request. And Ashley's here to walk us through that. It's on page 25 of your packet.
Ashley, welcome.
Good morning, Board of Managers. As Administrator Tomczyk noted, on page 25 is the memo describing the additional services request for Houston Task Order 2022-008. The original task order was in the amount of $35,000, and that was to cover the development of the repair report for Ramsey County Ditch 4. That task has been completed. At the time, it did identify that the charge memo was not included in that in the task order. So the additional services is the development of that charge memo, which is the Water Management District, which will be the allocation of charges for the upcoming repair pending your guys' decisions.
I'll note that Adam Neese is sitting in for Chris Otterness today. Welcome. If you have any questions of either Ashley or Adam? Anyone? If not, can I have a motion, please?
Sure. Mr. President, I move to authorize you to execute the HEI Task Order 2022-008 additional service request to complete the development of the Rice Creek Ditch 4 Watershed District Management Charge Allocation Memo in the amount of $6,000, bringing the total cost of the task order to $41,000.
Is there a second? Thank you, Manager Waller. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. 5-0.
I have some questions about the project.
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't think you're coming up here again, are you?
No.
All right, so we haven't seen you since the public information meeting in Roseville. I thought you and the HEI representative did an excellent and patient job in speaking with the folks in the audience. The question to me was, or that I had, is I think you were talking about possibly be $250,000 additional to do the project?
I believe is the estimated total cost.
Right. So question is that money already in the Watershed Management District account, or does the county have to go back and get $25 out of everyone in the watershed again?
Yeah, so some background on how the water management districts are implemented is we generally develop the charge memo. We budget in our annual budgeting for that project in the year, and then retroactively collect the taxes and pay that charge off. So we'll certify the charges. So pending your guys' ordering of the project and the repair and the charge memo, the project will be ordered, bid. That money is budgeted in the annual budget, and then the county will certify and collect through the property taxes over either 1 year or multiple years for the more expensive charges. So it gets paid back.
Right.
Right.
So my concern would be is we've already charged people in the watershed district for the first project, the first part of the project.
Yep.
Just thinking in the future, if we're anticipating more work on a system, does it make sense to gather more money than is initially needed? It just seems like
Yeah.
it's going to be a lot of work to charge 2,000 people $25.
I will let the attorney jump in if you'd like, but my understanding is the projects and that money don't really exist until they're ordered. And so how the water management districts are implemented is the project has to be developed first.
Okay.
And so that's why we have the capital improvement, or not capital improvement, but the large scale repair projects planned out in our 10-year plan. And then minor maintenance has its kind of separate budget. And those get budgeted individually. And then depending on the system, because not all systems or repairs do have a water management district. So some are considered all ad valorem, some have a split. And that is always up to the board to decide how that split even goes if there is a WMD in place.
So we may be having discussion about this as we go forward, because if we're talking about a 40-60 split, then we're only talking 100,000 that would be assessed to 2,000 plus people. So it just, just trying to kind of get ahead of that discussion when we have it.
President Bradley, Manager Winan, a couple of thoughts to your questions or point. In all these situations, all the folks on the system pay for it. So it includes, even if it's on a different section of the system. We've seen that on Anoka County Ditch 5362, where we have multiple phases. To your point, Houston Engineering and staff do contemplate the cost of the work to get the cost levied on the system, as opposed to what's the charge. And at some point, there's a reasonable decision to be made if it's worth the effort and that sort of thing. So that is part of the contemplated issues that we should move through.
Okay.
And Ashley's correct. She made note that we won't know the cost of the project until it's developed and the engineer can give us an estimated cost. Then we have to decide what the split might be there, and your attentiveness to the impact it may have on the landowners is important, and you've typically laddered it, if you will, where higher amounts could be paid off over a number of years. So the district budgets, as Ashley said, fronts the money, and then we refill whatever that percentage is on the back end.
But you are right, this will come back to us at the appropriate time in a workshop where we will go through all of these things and make these sorts of recommendations and come before the board and make a final determination.
Correct.
This is, just want to note, though, this has been a policy that always is wrought with a little concern about impacts, but we've got a balance we've been using, at least for the whole time I've been on this board, and I will be reluctant personally to change that balance midstream. So,
Noted.
any other questions? All right, next item.
Next on the agenda is for the board to consider League of Minnesota Cities liability coverage waiver form. I'll lead the board through that. That's page 33 of your packet. So annually, the League of Minnesota Cities, as part of its insurance coverage for the district, requires us, the district, to consider potential waiver of the statutory tort liability limits. In the past, the board has voted to waive those monetary limits for the coverage renewal that we're up against. And you've done that for all years 2016 through 2023. We have the same approach here prepared before you. So if the board wishes to take an alternative action, the proposed motion will have to be modified accordingly. Open to any questions.
This is a policy that I got moving when I came on the board. It doesn't cost us anything. We're already paying for the insurance policy, and little reason to deny people recovery of their costs when we've got it insured. So I will move that the district waive the monetary limits on municipal tort liability established in Minnesota statute section 466.04 to the extent of the limits of the liability coverage obtained from LMCIT, which is the local government unit that assists us in these things.
League of Minnesota
So the
Cities
cities.
Insurance Trust.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect.
I'll
Fabulous.
second that.
All in favor say, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. Passes 5-0. What's up next, Mick?
Action item number 3, this is the City of Roseville for Ramsey County Ditch 4 Basic Water Management Project. This is reimbursement number 8 to the City of Roseville. So this is the collection of the water management charges, district charges, that have been collected from MnDOT, and these, through the agreement, when the ditch was converted to a piped system, we agreed that we would provide City of Roseville these funds for the work that they've completed and then the ongoing work that they'll need for maintaining the system. So we received those funds recently, $11,971.99. These need to be transferred to the city. And with that, we've transferred the full amount of our ad valorem dollars to the city already, but we do have a total of $29,633 of these funds yet to be collected. So we'll be back again for a transfer number 9 or 10 as they come in. So staff would recommend the transfer of the funds, and there is a motion on page 36 for your consideration.
Any questions of Nick? Hearing that, can I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move to approve the RCD 4 Water Management District, Minnesota Department of Transportation right-of-way reimbursement to the City of Roseville and direct staff to issue a payment in the amount of $11,971.99.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 5-0.
Oh, I guess we're up already.
Check register.
Yes.
Madam
Mr.
Treasurer.
Chair, I've reviewed the October 25th, 2023 check register and the October 2023 interim financial statement, both prepared by Redpath and Company, and move to approve the October 25th, 2023 check register in the amount of $273,422.57.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Questions? I have a question.
Okay.
So first time I've ever seen Verizon Wireless 2 notes say void. double wrote the check. That's what happens with me, something.
Yes, President Bradley, Board of Managers, these have to do with the district's establishment of ETF, or it's also called ACH. This is where funds are automatically transferred for payment through the internet or through the electronic systems. So we use that when the district might otherwise incur a late charge, and this was part of your financial policy. We do have a number of cell phones for staff in the field and such. This is that payment, although we're still working through hiccups with US Bank to straighten that out and get the system to flow smoothly for us. So we did have them on there, and then they were voided because we got them through another way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All right. We've had a motions, first and second, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 5-0. Nick, what are we up to?
Yeah, Manager Bradley, next on the agenda is items for discussion and information, and you have staff reports to begin with.
Does anyone have any questions, comments, or concerns about the staff reports?
Well, Mr. Chair, once again, I'm always continue to be impressed at how much gets done here. I did note that there was a tour on the Blaine wetland sponsored by Rice Creek. So how does that come about, and can we get heads up? Because that would be very interesting to have attended.
Yes.
Yes.
President Bradley, Manager Wynett, and board, the district staff and our communication and outreach department have developed relationships with our municipalities and such, and sometimes these just come about through that exercise. We want an informed public of the good work that City of Blaine did. If I'm not mistaken, this was their wetland bank. The city's established a large boardwalk. It's a well-used area for passive recreation. And there is a bit of informational signage out there as well. But duly noted, we'll do our best to keep you apprised of those events. Sometimes we're invited late to the game, but we'll do our best to keep you in the loop. I'll make note of that.
Nice. I agree with you. I would like to go on too on that.
Mr. Chair, if I could. Sure. I mean, I would be most happy to extend an invite to any of you. I mean, we can grab a cup of coffee before it gets too cold, and we can walk the wetland sanctuary. To Nick's point, there's really great signage that was donated through funding through the community that identifies, native grasses and the function of the wetlands. And yes, that is the city's large wetland bank. We have a couple of them, but that was our primary one. So it is certainly the crown jewel of our city. We're super proud of it. And we always welcome anyone that wants to come out. There's big future plans for the space that include an education center or some kind of shelter that would allow for additional, events and, again, education. So, yeah, anytime. Happy to welcome you all out there.
Fabulous, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions? Take us up to the calendar, Nick?
That is correct. President Bradley, let's see, what page is that? Page 84 of the packet. You'll see we've extended it through the end of the year. We do have shortened meetings in November and December by one. We simply hold our first regular workshop and then the first regular meeting, and the second one is not held, noting that December 13th is an evening meeting here at Shoreview City Hall, 6:30. That's your Truth in Taxation meeting.
I see I have the CAC coming up. I will be attending that. So I will not be attending the Commons open house that Ramsey County is putting on.
Okay.
Yes. President Bradley, I'll note that I'll be away at it's called the Minnesota Association of Floodplain Managers Conference at that time, so I will not be able to attend CAC or the open house. I'm working to have a staff person at the open house.
Okay, good. Any other questions, comments? This is not a non-voting issue. And that takes us to what? Administrator updates.
Yes. Thank you, President Bradley. Board of Managers, the district staff are working to scan our numerous paper records. There's a lot of file cabinets, as I'm sure you've seen in our office. We get those scanned outside of district staff. They're reviewed for clarity and accuracy, and then we dispense with the paper if necessary. And I wanted you to know about that. This will open up some of the district's space, specifically within the storage room where we keep a lot of those outreach materials and supplies for the district. So you'll be seeing that as a ongoing, I'll say monthly cost. We imagine this will be a multi-year, certainly multi-month effort to move through that. We have made contact with MnDOT regarding our Ramsey County Ditch 235 project. As you know, the modeling that Houston has completed for us shows flooding on the interstate. It's associated with Highway 88 and some large culverts that they have there. We've engaged them previously, but due to staff turnover and that sort of thing at MnDOT, we're engaging them again. Want to have a good discussion. We're looking for their support, specifically so in any future grant application or dealing with our elected folks, we can have a unified voice there. Recently, I've sent you the state's Bowser Performance Review and Assistance Program. That occurred in 2018. I thought it was a good reflection of the district's work after our discussion at the workshop. This is an in-depth review by the state. It is mandatory. It involved about 80 hours of staff time to provide all the information for the state, and who knows how long for them to digest and do their report. I do have the full report with me and some of the highlights, if you will, if you'd like to see those. Again, I know some of you weren't present at the time that was done. And then finally, at our October 9th workshop meeting, we had a good discussion and a presentation by Patrick on regulatory, and we dove into the 2024 budget and the levy and some of those matters. So from the administrator position, I just want to ask if any manager has a need for additional information or otherwise, so that they might work with their peer managers in further development or understanding of what's to come. So,
In light of the discussion we did have at the workshop, I'd suggest that you electronically send the manager and mechanically send Manager Waller a copy of the Bowser report and see whether or not that provides the sort of review that they were contemplating, and whether or not that solves that need. So that would be my suggestion.
okay, I'd be happy to provide it.
Thank you.
Mr. President, could I ask Nick one question on what on the records that you're putting on hard drives or whatever you're putting them on?
Put them out in a cloud.
Yeah, exactly. But you said you were looking at them for clarity and accuracy?
Correct. Just legibility. In other words, when you photocopy or scan something, is it as legible as the original? And if not, we got to rescan it or have some sort of interpretation. But
I was misunderstanding what you were saying, so that makes total sense.
Maybe a better way to put it would be spot check or proof what we're paying for to make sure it's correct.
Yeah. Fair, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Manager Waller?
Thank you, Mr. President. On Friday, the administrator and I will be attending the Washington County Commissioners Miron and Kowalski interview, which is we usually do that prior to the hopeful board, which will be later in the month, or next month, I should say. I did attend the Minnesota Department of Transportation's Resilience Improvement Plan in Roseville on last Tuesday, and it was October the 17th. And I met Mr. Brian Shackleton, who is the new assigned individual for this portion. A couple of things are important here. We also had the administrator sent Mr. Will along with us, so we had him, the technician, and very nice because he brought his radio computer and was able to provide a map of what Rice Creek looks like. Why this was important about resilience is, first of all, this fellow has just been assigned to this job. He was interested in working with the watersheds. He is a former member of the Minnehaha district, I believe, Chuck. I see I got a nod there. Thank you. He spent a couple of terms on the board over there. So he's familiar with the watersheds and was interested in making sure there was a communication with the watersheds more often. And he has $23 million in federal grant money. That's not a lot really for the whole state, but it's some to be used on flood control issues or climate control issues, because that's what the highway department's interested in. So as you heard the administrator mention earlier, that they contacted MnDOT about 35W and 88, which is where I put the star on his map, because I had to go through the therapy session. You know, you put the marbles in a glass, all this stuff. And so I skewed, as one of our past staff members accused me of, skewing the results of it because I was the only one there. Anyways, hopefully we'll have some communication with them, because we have a number of state highways, 61, 96, 36, 88. No, they mentioned that one. Number 10, 61. Then federal highways, 35 and E and W and 694, all of which would be eligible for some of this money in here. So I was into that. I am looking forward to our next workshop, where we're going to discuss this communication issues. And finally, we need to set a time, because it's at a time of the end of the year where we have the administrator's review.
Yes, I've talked to Nick about that.
So
I think it's coming up to discussion on
December workshop.
December workshop.
All right. Well, that's good. I just was curious before we get to the end of the day here.
Yes, you don't want to forget it.
Yes. And of course, I'll be attending also in the end of November the annual conference up in, what is that beautiful town up there?
Alexandria.
Yeah, Alexandria. Yeah.
Riverwood Resort.
Yeah. And I'll be up there for that. Other than that, I don't think there's anything else that's really much I'm aware of, but I was interested in working with this gentleman. He was from the highway department. He's interested in working with the watersheds, and he's interested in flood control. Apparently he was at Minnehaha during the large problem they had with flooding in 2012 or 14, that era in there. So he's very conscious about that. And it was, hopefully we'll have be able to get a small amount, some money someplace.
What did you have in mind about the communications on upcoming workshop?
I think
That was me that brought that up at the last board meeting.
Remind me.
Well, I wanted to talk about the communications between, on when we should be getting documents. I had a resident contact me or actually it was the city of Columbus.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I had never seen it, and so we just wanted to talk about it.
Okay, so that's on your radar?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
it's on the
and it isn't gonna take
No, that's great.
it's not a big
No.
number.
Super. Joe Wynant?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was out of the state last week, returned last night, and got my packet again when I don't pick it up or it doesn't arrive by the US mail on the website. And the system that we have in place now makes it very easy to get the email announcing the meeting, and then you just click into the agenda and to the entire packet. So kudos again to the website development. It was
Good.
a good way to keep up with what was going on. And I do have a question about the conference that occurred last week, hosted by the University of Minnesota, the water conference. How many staff attended that one? I know Kendra presented on resiliency. Is there an update on
Yes.
our presence there?
Manager Bradley, Manager Wynand, all of the board. You're referring to the Water Resource Conference. It's held at the River Center in St. Paul. Yes, you're correct. Kendra and Brett from Houston Engineering presented on our resiliency grant and the outcome of that and our community workshops. Patrick participated in a panel in regards to wetland banks and some of the issues as the state coordinates with federal government on that and how to best approach those types of matters. Number of staff there, yes, it's a 2-day event. It's excellent, both scientific and social science types of things about the administration of water resources and what we do. It's always well attended. I think they had 800 individuals, so it's a paramount event in the state.
Thank you.
It sounds like it may have been more informative than what I get up in Alexandria. I mean, is this something we should know about in the future?
Well, it's been going on for a number of years, Mr. President.
It's something I didn't know
I've
about until.
attended it in the past.
I have too.
There you go.
Yeah,
Well, I haven't.
Yeah, certainly.
son of a
There's
gun.
Oh, yeah.
My stars. If it makes you feel any better, I've never attended either. So there you go. You're not on an island
Just
today.
suggesting, there you go. Wonderful. I'm
You're
glad to
not
have you with me.
alone.
No?
Yeah. Board, it is a good exchange of ideas about approaches, lessons learned, if you will, when you run into hiccups. We're all striving for similar outcomes under distinctly unique situations, and then trying to apply them across is very helpful in being efficient with public's money.
Thank you. Anything else, Marcy?
I could tell you all about the wetland restoration along the coast of California. Not all about it, but we're not going to get into that at this point.
The only thing I have, I guess, since Manager Waller brought it up, I am going to attend in Alexandria later this month. That's it.
I got nothing.
Nothing?
Happy
Okay.
again to extend the invitation to welcome you out to the wetland sanctuary. It is really lovely. It's 700 acres smack dab in the middle of our city, and it's lovely. So
We'll take you up on that one.
I like it. We can even go in the winter. They do snowshoeing. They do all kinds of fun stuff out there. So it is year-round use.
Cool.
For my report, Nick and I attended the Metro Watershed meeting this last, Tuesday. We had a nice report from the Metropolitan Council advising us that they're in the process of doing their 2050 planning report for wastewater, and gave us the URL to be able to find that report if anyone's interested. I've given it to Steve.
Don't ask for it.
But I've got it if you want it. They're looking, the Minnesota Watersheds is looking to have the summer retreat in the metro area, and they're asked the administrators in the various metro watersheds to discuss who's willing to host it. I did not volunteer us. I think that's a large lift to do that. So, but
President Bradley, board, yes, it is a large event, well attended. Again, here it's actually field visits, of course, of the projects and firsthand knowledge of how it was implemented. For the summer tour, I did reach out to other administrators in regards to that. I offered any of our sites that might be useful in communicating a message, and collaboration is probably the best path forward, because finding a hotel and then place for the event and the busing and all that sort of thing. So it's hard to put it in one location.
So I learned also that Ray Bowen is retiring after 2024, so they are in the process today, right now, of interviewing potential lobbyists, and I think they've interviewed 3 so far, and seemed pleased with the quality of the candidates. And we had a report from Bowser that they are going to they're going to provide the metro watersheds a pool of $9 million to be distributed, and for the upcoming year, so
Is the distribution going to be competitive, or is it?
it's going to be just like, it's going to be the same process they've used last 2 years, I think.
Oh, that's the 9 million you're
That's the
talking
competitive,
about.
yeah, where we jointly pool together and decide who gets the money.
President Bradley, you're referring to the watershed-based implementation funding,
Yeah,
I
that's the
believe,
one.
WBIF, and that is distributed via a convene group. That's where the watershed, it's allocated to the watershed as a geographical area. And then we convene with the conservation districts within our area, the watershed staff, and then the counties. Our municipalities are represented on that as well, and good discussion about what would be the best projects to move forward for the use of the dollars.
So he seemed to be excited about the 9 million. I don't, but at the same time, that's a very large body to distribute amongst. So hold it. We've done fairly well though in the past in this process.
Yep.
Look forward to doing that again. They also advise that the clean water funds are grants are under final board review by Bowser at this time. So I think
Cross your fingers. Cross your fingers. This that's our.
We got a couple in there.
Yeah, we had our Centerville Lake. The treatment is one of the applications.
And I too will be going to Alexandria at the end of this month. So, anything from anybody else? Glad to see you.
Chuck?
Lewis couldn't make it today, and we got the first string this time. We got the A team. Thank you for attending. Anything else? If not, a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All passes 5-0. Amazing, it did that.
Recording stopped.